one of our seasoned veterans in Toastmasters. His pathway is presentation mastery, and he's completing his level 3 elective. And the project of the title is Virtual and Augmented Reality. So please, can everyone help me welcome Geoff Peters?
Welcome, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. It's my pleasure to speak to you today about augmented and virtual reality. Before I begin, let me give an overview of what I will mention today. I'd like to first of all talk about what is the difference between augmented reality and virtual reality. I'd like to speak about how currently virtual reality is experiencing a large amount of growth, and also speak briefly about the applications of augmented reality. And if we have time, maybe 1 minute at the end for questions. So about myself. In my professional life, I am a software developer. I've been working for a large software company called SAP for over 14 years, and it's been a really wonderful career. At the same time as being a software developer, I'm also have been a musician. So this is a picture of me playing piano at a wedding with my jazz trio. So I've always had a creative side and pursued some work in the arts as well. So this has been a lot of fun. At SAP, I've had some opportunities to really see the impact of the software that we create around the world. And on the left, you can see a picture of me in Washington, D.C. from a few years ago, where I was working with organizations such as the U.S. State Department, United Nations Foundation, the World Bank, and other large organizations on analyzing and using our software to help us achieve the global goals set out by United Nations Foundation. So this is some really groundbreaking work that we were doing to use our software to analyze, in this particular case, the gender gap of legal frameworks for women around the world. For example, if women are married in a certain country and they have less rights than other countries, then we were visualizing that on a map. So it's really wonderful to see how the work that I did in developing this software can be used for really excellent purposes in the real world. But let's move on now to the main topic for today, which is augmented reality and virtual reality. And I'd like to ask a poll of everyone in the audience. Have you used virtual reality or augmented reality before? And if yes, what is your favorite application that you've tried? I'm not expecting very many people to have tried it, but I'm very curious. If anyone has, please put it in the chat box of this meeting. I'm curious to see if anyone has tried either of these technologies, and what is your favorite app? So I'll pause for about 10 seconds in case we have anyone who's brave enough to tell the audience. Great, so oh yes, we've had Bongani played a VR baseball game. Wonderful. So let me talk first of all, what's the difference between virtual reality and augmented reality? On the left side, you can see a picture of me with my teammates from work. We were at a virtual reality arcade in Richmond, BC, and we were trying out a game where we were robots in the future defending a space station. And in this example, we were standing on a platform in a 3D world, and lots of robots were flying at us, and we were firing laser beams at them with our weapons. And this this virtual reality arcade was very advanced. It had tracking on our legs and arms and head, and the weapon was being tracked. And we were wearing a suit which rumbled if we got hit by an enemy's laser beam. At the end of the experience, near the end, a big fan turned on in the wall, and we actually had the sensation of wind blowing on us as well. So these tactile sensations can make the virtual world really immersive. So virtual reality, as you can see, we are fully immersed in the virtual world, and we're no longer aware of our physical surroundings. So this is a thing to be really careful of in virtual reality, because let's say you're doing it at home and a small animal like your pet or a child walks into your play space, you wouldn't even know they're there, and you could have an accident. So really be careful when you're in virtual reality to play in a safe space. In contrast with virtual reality, which you fully enter the virtual world. In augmented reality on the right, you can layer on digital elements into your real world. So in this case, I was wearing a headset called the HoloLens, and my husband was sitting on the couch, and above him was a augmented reality hamburger, and I could actually pinch with my fingers and make that hamburger smaller or bigger, and even see these little hamburger characters animated and flying around the room. It was really an out of this world experience. Currently, augmented reality headsets are a little bit beyond what the average consumer can afford. I think the cheapest one of this quality is around $3,000 US. So obviously this is not something that the average consumer can get into, but the technology is coming along, and as all technologies have done, it will become cheaper and cheaper. Eventually, everyone will be able to afford an augmented reality headset. These are a couple more shots of Microsoft HoloLens, which is a really neat technology that you can have. HoloLens makes these augmented reality information appear like holograms in the real world. Now this is a bit about the growth of virtual reality. On the graph at the top left, you can see the number of people who use virtual reality every month. And you can see that in the last year, there's been quite a steep growth of users of virtual reality in the world. And this jump up in around March of last year was just when people were being locked down in the pandemic. A lot of people who had VR headsets started using them. This coincided also with the release of this fancy game called Half-Life Alyx. The most interesting part is that this gray area here shows that a new headset called the Oculus Quest 2 has suddenly become very popular and has grabbed almost a quarter or a third of the market share in VR headsets in just a few months. So you can see the rapid growth of virtual reality, especially with the Oculus Quest 2 headset. Now this is a picture of me wearing my Oculus Quest 2 headset. I think the funnest thing you can do with it right now is, aside from playing lots of games, you can also be creative and draw in 3D around yourself. It's called Tilt Brush, and it's a way to do painting in the virtual world. It's really amazing. It's a magical experience. I highly recommend it. These headsets can be purchased at Best Buy Canada for around $300, and it's well worth trying it if you have the opportunity to do so. So that brings me to the end of my presentation. I have much more that I could talk about, but I'll leave you with this one interesting fact. One of my colleagues, Sharon Yang, has created a virtual Pac-Man game, and you can actually become Pac-Man and enter the game yourself. So the reality of virtual reality and augmented reality is unlimited. You can create whatever you want, and this is a very exciting area that I'm interested in. Thank you very much. I'll turn it back to our chair.
Thank you so much, Geoff, for that wonderful presentation. I think we can all agree that you were able to simplify a very complex topic in such a short period of time, which is extremely commendable.